deploying your first custom interplanetary consensus subnet with Sarah. Welcome, Sarah. Would love some opening thoughts for everyone watching us today. And, let a brief intro of yourself, and then we can hop on to what.
Sure. Anyway, first of all, thanks for joining, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit late for this. I thought it was a different time. Okay, so yeah, about me, I came on yesterday and talked a little bit about IPC, more in depth into what features are currently available, what you can build, some hands-on ideas. And that follows on from my teammate Matt doing a high-level vision of what IPC is meant to accomplish here. So today we'll run through how to deploy a subnet. We're just going to run through the tutorial on the docs page. It's, I know it can be intimidating. I was reading the Telegram chat and some people were saying how they were nervous to get started on IPC. And I understand because it is a very experimental product that we're putting out there. You guys are one of the first to try it out. I think this is the first hackathon that we're doing with IPC M3, the M3 milestone that we have, which has a lot more features available. So we're dealing with a lot of new things here. So I'm going to run through really gently on how we can deploy a custom subnet because that is really the first step for you to go build your project on top of it. It's easy. Oh, I won't say it's easy. It's easy. There are steps. I'll bring you through. I've troubleshooted myself yesterday. If we run into issues, you can always find me on Telegram. We'll try to answer your questions. And if you want to follow along today, I'll go slow. Yeah, how much time do I have?
Yeah, for this one, we have 30 minutes.
Okay, I will try to go slowly. So if you want to follow along, there's a tutorial already on the docs page as well. So we'll be referring to that directly, and then you can just try it yourself afterwards. Cool. So yeah, that'll be for today.
Perfect, Sarah. Excited to kick this off. For everyone watching, if you have any questions at any point in time you're watching, Sarah, please feel free to drop the questions in the chat and we'll take it up all towards the end of the workshop.
Okay, great. All right, let me just share my screen. Cool. I suppose you all can see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this into the chat. Can viewers see the chat? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, you can just drop it in the chat and Lynn will help us put it in the live chat.
Great. Okay, so I'm gonna put this link over here. This is what you can all refer to. I'm gonna be running through this today and we'll see how this goes. This is deploying your custom subnet. This has been updated really recently from our team, so it's changed in the past 2 days. So if you come in here before, this is a very new page. We're going to run through how to deploy your custom subnet, which is routed onto the calibration testnet on Filecoin. Right now, that is the only rootnet that you can anchor your custom subnet to. In the future, we will have support for more chains to come. And we're looking at like Ethereum as well as Bitcoin, but I think that will be probably Q4 or later this year. So for now, we will anchor to calibration testnet. So there are some basic requirements that you will have to have. There are different instructions here for Linux and Mac OS. I personally am using Mac OS, so I'm going to be running through on the Mac OS version of it today. But if you have Linux, like once you get past this prereqs, the rest of it is the same. Yeah, so for Mac OS, for me, so I ran through yesterday, please get all these installed. If you have any issues, so some issues that I ran into, let me just share them here. Yeah, if you have like, I don't know, for my Mac OS, I was hitting some errors around like homebrew, ZSH, like command not found, brew, command not found, cargo, especially if you're using Rust for the first time. I know Rust is really popular now. I use Solidity more and I'm getting used to Rust too. But if you have issues there, I'm just gonna paste some like troubleshooting stuff into the chat. Maybe I'm the noob here, but yeah, if you're facing any issues, these are really helpful hacks that I found to solve the issues. So yeah, once you get all these installed, you should be good to go. So I guess it's a bit hard for you guys to follow along, but you can always watch the recording later on. But if you have it installed, let's just jump into the building itself. Cool. So I'm gonna assume most of you have already clicked on the link that I shared in the chat earlier on. I'm gonna jump to my terminal. I don't want to keep sharing like flipping between windows. I'm gonna jump to my terminal and we're gonna follow these steps one by one. And please refer to the doc page that I just shared, which is over here. So see the chat, please go to this site and I will run through on my terminal. Let me just share my terminal screen. Okay, so I have all the prereqs set up already. There are some pieces as well that I've already, I've set up a subnet, but I'm going to try starting a new one here. There are some pieces that take a while to compile, and I'll run through which parts take a bit longer. So I might not run through all of it today, just for purpose of time, and I'll make it faster. So yeah, I'll walk you through it. Cool. So we'll start with building. What you need to make sure here is, so once you have all the prereqs installed, making sure that your Rust has a WASM32 target. So you just start with this. You see, facing the issues I faced yesterday. Right. Okay, hold on. Okay, what we might need to get. Where's my Rust, by the way? Thought it was in here yesterday. 1 second. So let's just redo this. Okay, and then it should be fine. Why? 1 second, let me see. What's the issue here? Okay, I'm gonna run through all the pre installs just one more time. Again, starting on a fresh terminal here, so let's just run through this. Xcode. That's fine. Brew is there. Okay, awesome. And then let's just, I think Rust was already there. Okay, facing this issue again. So we will key in this piece here, which should fix the issue. Okay, let's try that again. Great. All right, let's get cargo in. And then also separately on my desktop, I've made sure that Docker is installed. So I'm actually running the desktop Docker on my background here. So make sure you have that installed and running, like open and running. And I should have Foundry already installed, but I'm just going to run through it again and make sure it's there. Yeah, so the building piece does take a little bit of time, but we should be almost there. So for today's tutorial, we'll set up a custom subnet, and then I'll show you how to connect your MetaMask to your new network itself, and then how to import the wallet. Just taking through some basics in case like you're a bit new to this. And once you get your wallet set up on MetaMask, you're good to go as if you're working on any other chain. So let's just make sure Foundry is there. Am I here? Yeah. We have this just now, so let's do this. Okay, I know why. Didn't copy on the source. Okay. Yes, guys, please do all your pre-recs before you run the tutorial. Cool. Let's cross fingers. Hope this works. Oh, please work, please work. Okay, great. Now it works. All right. So on building, we have the first step in. So make sure that your WASM 32 target is set. For Linux only please don't use the sudo user mod docker, which is the next step in the building piece. If you're following the tutorial here, because you don't need that step for Mac. Also, if you key in that step, it will just keep giving you an error. So please skip it. And then we go in and we clone the repo and build. So this is the part of the compilation. So we're going to run through the full compilation since I did the prereqs from the start. We'll slowly let it build. In the meantime, so once you get your custom subnet up running, if you've attended those workshops yesterday, there are a few things that you can do on it. So you'll be effectively having the child subnet that we talked about. So parent subnet in this case would be the Filecoin calibration subnet, and then child subnet would be this custom subnet that you have set up. What you'll be able to do is you could do crossnet GMP. So if you had a contract running on calibration net, you could actually invoke functions within it, call it within your IPC subnet, and vice versa. But there are some things to take note of. So for example, the contracts that you set up on either calibration, both the receiving end and the sending end will have to be IPC aware. So I wouldn't jump right into it just yet. Also, I know that we don't have a tutorial available right now for it, but we will have during the workshop tomorrow. So I would say as of today, please try setting up your custom subnet first, get it all set up. And then once you have I would take it step by step. So once you get it set up, we will have 2 more workshops I think will be super valuable for you to use with your custom subnet. And then you can come in tomorrow and set it up. So please spend these few days experimenting first and getting your custom subnet set up. All right, cool. So now we've compiled the build and cloned the repo into here. And we will make sure that the IPC CLI is running. So we're going to put this in here so that we can use it really easily later on. So cool, now we're already here. So we're going to hit into initializing the config. These pieces are pretty easy steps to follow within the tutorial. We get to a little bit trickier part. I'm just going to run through some things that you really need to take note of. Cool, so we have all this initialized. And let's check out configuration. All right, so you want to make sure that you're on the right parent network. You are rooted to Filecoin calibration net. This should be the 314159 chain ID. And then this will be your custom child subnet that you've set up. So these are on check. Please take note of your gateway address and registry address. So there are some things this is the part you need to take note of, right? So once you get here, you'll see in the tutorial as well, we'll have a point there that says replace the gateway address and the registry address with the following values. The gateway address and the registry address refer to your IPC actors. I'm going to pop in another link over here that will kind of give you a quick overview of what that means. Where is it? Over here. Oh, okay, right. It is on this page, I think. Yep. Yeah. So have a look here. This is what it refers to when we talk about the addresses. You're like, what contracts are these? You can check out the docs on what these contracts actually do for IPC. Basically, it helps you to spin up a subnet and operate the child subnet that you have. And there's one sitting in every single subnet. And then we have one on the parent side, which is the registry address. So that will allow your parent network to know like which subnets are running off of it. So these contracts interact with each other to allow for these the scaling to happen. So they're pretty important to have, and that's what we mean by you need to replace the address. So every time, and we're working on an automated version for this. I think that's already implemented as of yesterday. But every time the core engineering team works on the repo, I think the contracts themselves refresh probably daily. So don't be surprised if you set up a new custom subnet later on and it has a different gateway address or registry address. The ones that you have in here, like your custom subnet, once you set it up and you use it for the rest of the hackathon, you're fine. You don't need to worry about that. But just make sure that when you set it up, you're taking the latest addresses. Right. If there are any big changes coming in the repo, we will we will put it into the Discord or the Telegram chat just to let everyone know that, hey, new addresses have been released with a lot more features, like significantly valuable features that you might not have with your previous custom subnets. And then I think you would probably evaluate if you need those features and whether you want to set up an additional custom subnet to run certain parts of your DApp. But we don't expect that within this hackathon, so just in case, right? Anyway, cool. So going back to the demo itself, where were we? So let's replace the addresses, right, with the latest. So you can always follow the link in there. There's a really easy badge that you can follow. Just make sure that what you see there, yeah.
Need to check if
Sorry.
you can enlarge your screen.
Oh, okay, sure.
Mhm.
Like this? Or should be this?
Can you like expand it in a landscape format?
Oh, okay. Oh, was it showing in the, okay, yeah, 1 second,
Yeah,
hold on.
the
Let me
portrait
just
format.
swap my screens. Sorry. Did not realize that was the case. All right, no problem. I'm just gonna swap it around. Is this better?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, sorry. Oh my, I went on for so long and no one told me. Okay, cool. Now we have it in place. Right. Okay, so we're gonna replace, where was I? Replacing the gateway address. Let's do this over here. Yeah. FYI, this is also, I know we call it a quick start. It doesn't feel very quick. We are working on an automated deployment for subnets tooling, so that should make it a lot easier. As of now, these steps are something you gotta manage on your own, but we'll get there slowly. The good thing about this is that you can really see under the hood. As one of the early users for IPC, you can really see how things are actually made and have a deeper understanding of it. So I think it's also good to run through the manual process, and then over time, yeah, it will be a lot clearer. Okay, cool. So now we have this in. I'm just gonna save it. Not there. Oh, my terminal is way too large. Okay. But we recommend you to have a minimum of like 3 to 4 validators just to keep your subnet a little bit more secure. And you know, you can enable the voting process rather than just have one person voting for it. But for this demo, we're just going to show one. So yeah, I'm going to set up the wallet. So a new wallet is going to be set up here. Cool. So you want to open up your note page at the same time and take note of these addresses. Like ideally, you wouldn't have to record so many different addresses. For the purpose of this, I will take note. I will mention to you guys what you need to take note of because it makes it a lot easier later on when you need to edit it within your text editor. Cool. Up to you. There's an optional step here if you want to set your IPC wallet as the default. If you want to, that's like another text editor move. Let me just key this in here and make it fast on text editor and paste it in here. Totally up to you. I would say it's useful for probably 1 or 2 steps more. So yeah, really up to you if you want to use this. But yeah, you can set it as the default. Cool, that's done. And then you want to go to the calibration faucet and get some funds for your address. So again, this is routed to calibration net. You will be getting funds from the parent subnet here. So we're just going to share my screen. Yeah, I'll share my screen here real quick. Okay, so you'll go to the Lotus calibration net. We've put in the faucet link within the docs too, so you won't miss it. Make sure you go here, send funds, put in your wallet address, and add it over here. Cool, so that's running right now. If you want to check your transactions, you can always go to Filefox, Explorer. Make sure that if you're new to Filecoin and FEM, this is the main Explorer. There are a few other Explorers that you can use too, but this is the one that I use. Make sure that you switch the network to calibration, and then you can see it usually takes about 30 to 90 seconds, I would say, based on the block time of calibration. So just give it a bit and it should come in. Yeah, and then what would be the next step after that? Yeah, so once we get your funds, we will create a child subnet. This is the part that will take a while to compile. Yeah, get into it. Come on, send me funds. Yeah, so the good thing about this is before with FEM, when you build on calibration, it takes 90 seconds or so for a transaction to go through. With IPC, once you set up a custom subnet, you realize that, I mean, depending on the number of validators that you set, it should be a lot faster for transaction time. With right, yeah, the more validators you set, the slower your transaction, your block time on calibration subnet, on your IPC custom subnet. Okay, cool. So now we have the funds. We're gonna jump back into the terminal. Second. Okay, and we will now create a custom, create our child subnet. I hope I have enough time here. Also, there are a few things that are configurable as you set up your child subnet. This is up to you for you to play around with. As you can see, the command I put in over here, you can set the bottom-up check period, which is your checkpointing period from child to parent, as a short amount of time. Right now it's set as 30 seconds. That's fine. You can see what works for you. But yes, we're gonna go set up our child subnet right now. I'm gonna make sure this is all right. Okay, yeah, we just have to wait. Okay, one thing I forgot. So how do I cancel this? Okay, so I initially set up one wallet and then I set up minimum validators. If you can see here in my terminal as 3. This is where you can edit the number of validators that you want to set up. So I created one wallet, but then I set up 3 validators. That's fine. I think we'll just work with 1 out of the 3, but we'll have 3 set up. I've keyed in. Okay, cool. That's set up right now. Yeah, so our child subnet is set up right now, but so the things you could edit earlier on when you first keyed it in, if you can see the command over here, make sure that you edit the minimum validators that you want. You can set 4, 5, 1, recommend 3 to 4. The stake here refers to the amount that they minimally need to have to be a validator. So later in your wallet, you'll see like auto-populated 1 T-fill or so because I've set this minimum stake as 1. And you can continuously add in more if you need to run contracts and all. So right now we have our child subnet set up. Please take note of this, copy paste this into your notepad. And then you'll know the address of your subnet. Okay, so now I have that. And we're gonna join the subnet. So I hope with just one wallet, it should work here. So you had your wallet address from earlier on. You'll see the command in the tutorial. I'm gonna put it in a text editor and then copy and paste it into the terminal here. Okay. So cool, we have the address set up. And we're going to get this public key. You need to take note of that too. So copy that and put it into your text editor. Again, this will get a lot more automated in like really soon, but probably not right now during the set. Like don't wait for it and don't let that stop you. But we definitely need to find a way to automate this a lot more, and a lot more improvements are coming really, really soon. So next, once we've set up, so now we've already set up the validators, we're going to join the subnet with the validator now that it has some stake in it. Right, so I'm going to, once again, copy the line from the docs and edit it within the text editor. So, just keying in my wallet address here on the text editor. And then copying in the subnet ID that I collected from earlier on. So this is why it's really important to paste all of this. If not, it's going to be hard to scroll all the way up and find them. And the public key as well. So you need a subnet ID, your public key, as well as your wallet address. And again, you'll see I'm only doing it for one validator because I followed this demo. I'm just going to focus on one. And you'll have this. So as I mentioned earlier on, you'll be keying in your wallet address. You'll be keying your subnet ID from the ones you just created, the starting collateral that you have, which is 10, the initial balance, which is 1, the collateral, which is 10 that's needed, and then the public key for this wallet that you set up. So if you do for 3 or 4 more validators, you'll be having like 4 more versions of this, depending, but more or less like, yeah, that's it. Oh, public key. Oh, right. Space. 1 second. I had a space before my public key, so it should work now. All right. Okay, so that's now getting set up. So again, if I ran it for 4 validators, you can expect a longer waiting time. But it should be pretty quick with just one. And then I hope we're not at time yet. Sorry, I went over a little bit. After this, we'll deploy the infrastructure and compile it. So that will be the really exciting part where we'll actually have a bootstrap node running on our custom child subnet. And you should have 3 to 4 of those, but we'll again only do one. And if I have some extra time, I'm going to see how we can connect it to MetaMask just to get you guys all set up. But if not, then the tutorial should give you, like we have other parts of the tutorials in the docs that will give you a really quick understanding of that. All right, so now we've got that set up. So our one validator has been joined. We will deploy the infrastructure over here. Again, just doing it in my text editor real quick. Here you go. This issue here. 1 second, let me just look at this. Okay. Some space. Yeah, okay, that's done. I was missing a space before the -- hex. Tricky when you take it from the text editor. And now let's start our first bootstrap node. Oh, okay, so there's a chunk of code in there. I'm going to copy and paste it in here, and then we're going to get our bootstrap node up and running. Okay. Right. Okay, you're gonna have to edit your that chunk of code in here too. So this will be the cargo make file. You will need to put in the private key path. You can get your private key path from. What is my private key path? Let me just find it. 1 second, 1 second. All right, that should come from your config file. And then you wanna, yeah. So if you look at the tutorial, you see cargo make. You need to key in your the correct path. So that should be within your config file. You can easily find that. You got to key in your new subnet ID. Let me just get my subnet ID and paste it in. Wow, we're really working under the hood here, huh? Don't worry, this should take you no more than like half an hour, with the troubleshooting, like pretty easy stuff to fix, just the prereqs. Other than that, you should be good to go. Parent registry, what was my parent registry again? Right. 1 sec. Okay. Let me just copy in my registry address. Right, all this is being done on the text editor, so I'm not going to show it. It's a bit messy. But once I key this in, I will really quickly show it to you guys. Okay, do I have everything right? Yes. So one thing you want to take note of, So if you copy the entire piece of the chunk of code on the deploy on the tutorial right now, if you copy that in, it's going to give you some errors. And the reason for that is because I've removed the last line, which is FM pool skip child validator, because that line itself refers to pulling from Docker, but in this case, we're pulling from a local image. So, and in your use case, you'll be pulling from a local image too. So what you want to do is just to remove the FM pool skip line. I'll probably update the documentation really quickly after this. But yes, just do take note of that. So it kind of ends at the gateway. Remove the last line. All right, this is probably the last big step that we need to do, and then we're almost there. Once we get a node up and running, we should be good to go. And yeah. So then you repeat this process for every validator that you do. Each time that you do it, probably takes about a minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, around there. Yeah. Ooh, hope this works. Cross fingers. If you guys have any questions right now so far, feel free to put that into the chat here. Yeah. And I hope this helps to take you all through, like, step by step through a tutorial, and I hope it's not as intimidating. But once you see that rocket come up on the terminal, we'll all feel like really accomplished. So trust me, it's worth it. Once you get it running, you'll be like, wow, I've set up my own custom subnet. So yeah, we're almost there. And also ahead of time, I might not have time to actually show you the MetaMask piece, but it's really easy. If you guys are used to MetaMask, just go into the MetaMask page itself. They can show it here real quick. While this loads. Should I show my screen? Wait, let me just change screen while this terminal loads. Yeah. So you're just going to MetaMask and make sure to import your wallet. You can always add a new wallet over here. As you can see, I imported this wallet from a previous subnet that I set up. So I don't think I'll run through it for this demo since we're almost out of time. But yes, once you have this up and running, import your wallet over here. You'll see one key fill because that was the initial balance that we set with the command that we put in just now. And you should be able to work on this with Remix. So once you go to Remix, super easy to use. Just go in, change your provider to injected MetaMask, and your wallet should show up showing 1 Ether ready to use for any contract that you need to do. So you can build your application from there onwards. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me just go back here and check on how that's doing here. Okay, so we have the build done. Let me share back to the terminal. That took about 5 minutes, I would say. I have a really bad sense of time. Okay, yeah, wait, no, I'm trying the wrong screen. Yeah, so now the build is done up. That's pretty quick. So we have a node running, and let me see, yeah. So after running this, we have 4. Oh, right. So the subnet should be set up right now. That should be all done. Okay. Right, interact with your subnet using. Okay, so if you just want to check your wallet balance, just to interact with it, just to see if everything is working and well, there's one step that you can use in there to test it within the tutorial. That's just checking that your wallet has balances available. So once again, I'm gonna edit this in the text editor. Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, here. Okay. That is something to look at. Also, aside from that, one thing I want to check, let me just do a quick check because I want to see if this subnet is up and running. One second. Okay, yes, it is. All right. Okay, so that's more or less it. The last piece here, I need to go error, like troubleshoot this. I'm not sure what's wrong with IPC CLI. But that aside, that's not important. That's just a check. But you have your subnet up and running. So this is more or less how you set up a custom subnet. In the tutorial itself, one option, if you look at step 9, you can run a relayer with your subnet in order to use GMP that I mentioned earlier, especially when you do bottom-up messages from child subnet to parent subnet, you will need to have a relayer running because it helps you to verify the transaction before it gets executed. So you will need to get it's not optional if you want to use GMP, so you have to get that up and running. But we'll run through that in the GMP tutorial on Saturday, I think. Yeah. But yeah, more or less, you have your custom subnet set up. I know I'm at time, but yeah, if there are any further questions, we'll see you guys in the Telegram. Yes.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Yeah, super quick and light speed. For everyone who wants to
Was it